Hello students, so in this video we are going to discuss about test series 7 of vision, and it is only concentrated on economy. So coming to the first question, with reference to market intervention scheme, consider the following. So now what is this market intervention scheme? So here if as the prices of horticulture products like fruits, vegetables, seeds, flowers, etc. gone down, government has launched market intervention scheme. So it is launched to support horticulture and perishable product prices. So look at the first statement. First statement is the objective of the scheme is to promote the domestic production of those food crops that India imports from abroad. So the first statement is wrong because the scheme is to promote the horticulture and perishable products prices. Okay, first statement is wrong. Coming to second statement, under the market intervention scheme, a predetermined quantity at the fixed market intervention price is procured by NAFED as the central agency. So second statement is correct. So only option B is correct. Second question, which of the following forms a part of revenue expenditure of the government of India? So here the revenue expenditure, generally the budget is divided into revenue receipts and revenue expenditure. So revenue receipts deal with the tax revenue, investments made by the government, fees, etc. So the revenue receipts means the income the government gets. Now coming to the revenue expenditure. Revenue expenditure means the expenses for normal functioning of the government, grants to the state government, pensions and subsidies, salaries and interest payments. All these are the revenue expenditures. So look at the statements over here. First statement is grants given to state government for asset creation. Yes, it comes under revenue expenditure. Next is subsidies and pensions given to widows. This also comes under revenue expenditure. Next is purchase of Rafale aircraft. Purchase of Rafale, okay, this doesn't come under revenue expenditure. I'll explain you why. Next, coming to the fourth statement, interest payment on debt incurred by the government. So 1, 2 and 4, these come under the revenue expenditure. We have capital expenditure also. So it is related to the creation of assets, like purchase of new weapons for the country's defense sector is a part of the capital expenditure. So here purchase of Rafale aircraft is a part of capital expenditure. Okay, so revenue expenditure include the expenses for the normal functioning of the government. So grants of the state government, pensions and subsidies, salaries and interest payments, all these are the examples of revenue expenditure, remember. So here option D is the right one. Third question, with reference to the marginal standing facility and statutory liquidity ratio, consider the following. Now here, what is marginal standing facility? So, or MSF. So MSF is the rate at which the scheduled banks can borrow money from RBI. Okay, that is called marginal standing facility. So the rate at which the scheduled banks can borrow money from RBI is called marginal standing facility. Coming to statutory liquidity ratio or SLR, SLR is the rate of money, liquid money that have to be with the commercial banks. Okay, the liquid money that should be with the commercial banks is called statutory liquidity ratio or SLR. So let's look into this statements. First statement is MSF refers to the rate at which the scheduled banks can borrow funds overnight from RBI against the government securities. The first statement is correct. Coming to second statement, SLR is a tool for controlling liquidity in the domestic market via manipulating bank credit. So this is also correct. So statutory liquidity ratio is the liquid money that the commercial banks have to maintain in their account. So see here, read it once again. SLR is a tool for controlling liquidity in the domestic market. Yes, if the statutory liquidity ratio means some amount of money should be in the commercial banks. So if that is there, liquidity control in the domestic market will be there. So SLR is a tool. So second statement is also correct. Coming to the third statement, MSF is always fixed above repo rate. So third statement is also correct. So all these statements are correct. So option D is the right answer. Fourth question, the Bretton Woods Agreement led to the creation of which of the following institutions? So we have two institutions under Bretton Woods Agreement. They are the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. So only two institutions are there. So option C. Fifth question, consider the following statements regarding the unorganized sector in India. So the first statement is, in the unorganized sector, the maximum number of workers employed in an enterprise is 50. So here in an unorganized sector, the maximum number of workers should not exceed 10 members. So first statement is wrong. So coming to the second statement, the term unorganized workers is not defined in India under any act of the government. So second statement is also wrong, because unorganized workers are defined under section 2 clause M of the Unorganized Workers Social Security Act of 2008. So neither one nor two are correct. So option D. Sixth question, with reference to Web 5.0, consider the following statements. So here Web 5.0 is the new form of web platform where your own identity and data can be controlled and protected. So let's get into the first statement. Web 5.0 envisions an internet without a threat of censorship from the governments or big tech. So first statement is correct. Coming to second statement, Web 5.0 will allow users to own their data and identity. Even second statement is also correct. So option C. Seventh question, consider the following statements regarding green box subsidies under the World Trade Organization. So here we have amber box. Amber box is, in the amber box, the domestic product which are considered to distort trade and production fall in the amber box. So subsidies and support prices are given to these products. Okay, so if onion, let's take an example. If onion price or wheat price will distort, okay, wheat doesn't distort at that maximum point, but some agricultural products distort heavily. So sudden rise or sudden decrease in the production or sudden decrease in the trade may cause major disruptions in the trade. So the domestic product which are considered to distort trade and production fall in this amber box. Okay, coming to this amber box, support prices and subsidies are given to these products. Next is green box. So green box is the domestic products which doesn't distort trade or production, or the very less distorted, then they are added under the green box, and subsidies can be increased without any financial limitations. So for green box we don't have any financial limitations, but for amber box we have some financial limitations. So let's look into this seventh question. Consider the following statements regarding green box subsidies under the World Trade Organization. So green box subsidies means only less, the products which have only less distortion or no distortion in trade or production is called, are under the green box subsidies. So the first statement is, under World Trade Organization, green box subsidies can be increased without any financial limitations. So first statement is correct. Coming to the second statement, subsidies provided under Indian public distribution system come under green box subsidies. These public distribution systems come under the amber box subsidies. Okay, so second statement is wrong, so only first statement is correct. Okay, the PDS come under amber box subsidies, not green box. Coming to 8th, so option A is the right one. 8th question, which of the following forms a part of internal debt of India? So first statement is securities issued to international financial institutions. Next is dated securities, and the third one is market stabilization scheme bonds, and fourth one is NRI deposits. So here they ask the internal forms a part of internal debt of India. So debt means the money which we have to give. So securities issued to the international finances, so this comes under internal debt. Next is dated securities, this also comes under internal debt. Market stabilization scheme bonds, these also come under the internal debts. But the NRI deposits are we are getting credited, so they'll credit amount to us, that means we will get credited. So fourth statement is wrong. It is like a credit for India, not a debt. So only 1, 2, 3 statements are correct. So option C. Ninth question, if the Reserve Bank of India increases bank rate, what effects it could possibly have on the Indian economy? So here, bank rate. The bank rate is the rate at which the RBI lends money to commercial banks. So if the bank rate is increased, that means interest rates are increased, and that means loans taken by the commercial banks becomes expensive. So read first statement, the loans taken by the commercial banks become cheaper. When the bank rate increases, then the loans taken by the commercial banks become increase. So first statement is wrong. Coming to the second statement, it decreases the money supply in the economy. Yes. So if the loans taken by the commercial banks increases, for us, if we want to take any loans, if the interest rates are more, because the RBI has increased bank rates, we will not, commercial banks will increase its interest rate. So if commercial banks increase, we will not take any loans. If we don't take any loans, then spending in the market will decrease. That means it decreases the money supply in the economy. So only second statement is correct. So option B. 10th question, consider the following statements regarding the currency deposit ratio. So here the currency deposit ratio is the ratio of money that people have in the liquid form to the money they have deposited in the banks. Okay. So look at the first statement. It is the ratio of money held by the public in currency to that they hold in the bank deposits. So first statement is correct. Coming to the second statement, it reflects people's preference for liquidity. So if they don't deposit, or if they deposit more, that reflects the people's preference. So this currency deposit ratio also reflects the people's preference for liquidity. If they are interested in for keeping money with them, then this will decrease, this ratio will decrease. If they deposit more, then this ratio will increase. So it depends. Both these statements are correct. So option C. 11th question, with reference to the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management, that is FRBM Act, consider the following statements. So here the main aim of this FRBM Act is to ensure fiscal stability, reduce the financial losses, eliminate revenue loss, and generate revenue surplus. So let's look into the options. The first statement is FRBM Act bans the purchase of primary issues of central government securities by RBI. So first statement is correct. FRBM Act bans the purchase of primary issues of the central bank securities by RBI. Coming to the second statement, the rules under the FRBM Act aim to eliminate the fiscal deficit of the central government. So here the rules of FRBM aim to take measures to eliminate the fiscal deficit, okay, and generate fiscal surplus of the central government. So second statement is wrong. They doesn't directly eliminate the fiscal deficit. They take measures to eliminate fiscal deficit. So only first statement is correct. So option A. 12th question, which of the following statements is correct regarding International Monetary Fund special drawing rights? So this special drawing rights is an international reserve assets. So if you want any money in terms of crisis, then you can go and take your share. So if India has 2% share or 1% share in this special drawing rights, then you can ask for that share and again return it when you have surplus. So next, so 12th question is, so they gave regarding IMF's SDR rights. So first option is, SDR is the official currency of the International Monetary Fund. So here SDR has 5 currencies. Those 5 currencies are US dollar, euros, Chinese renminbi, Japanese yen and British pound sterling. So it doesn't have any official currency. It has 5 currencies. So first statement is wrong. Coming to second statement, value of SDR is based on the basket of 4 currencies. No, it has 5 currencies, not 4 currencies. And those 5 currencies are dollar, euro, renminbi, yen and British pound sterling. So option B is also wrong. Coming to the option C, SDR can be held by private entities or individuals. It can't be held. It can only be held by the countries where its members are. So with its members. So option C is also wrong. Coming to option D, the value of SDR is determined daily based on the market exchange rate. So only option D is correct. 13th question, consider the following statements regarding the approaches used to measure the unemployment. So the first statement is, usual status approach to measure unemployment uses 7 days preceding the date of the survey as the reference period. Here the usual status approach uses the 365 days, not 7 days. It uses 365 days to measure the unemployment. So first statement is wrong because it uses 365 days assessment. Next is, the current daily status approach to measure unemployment uses each day of the 7 days preceding the date of the survey as the reference period. Second statement is correct. Coming to third statement, the usual status approach to measure unemployment fails to capture the short-term fluctuations in employment. So 2 and 3 statements are correct. So option B is the right one. 14th question, with reference to tribunals and high courts, consider the following statements. So the first statement is, while high court are established by the constitution, tribunals are established by acts of parliament only. No, tribunals are also established under constitution, acts of parliament and under the state legislatures. So first statement is wrong. Second statement is, like high courts, tribunals consist of judicial members only. So tribunals consist of judicial members as well as experts with special knowledge. So second statement is also wrong. Third statement is, both tribunals and high courts have the power to use all the enacted laws before making decision. Here also high court has all the power to use all the enacted laws, but tribunals doesn't have the power to use all the laws. So third statement is also wrong. So option D, none. 15th question, consider the following statements regarding the local area banks. So these local area banks are the small private banks. So coming to the first statement, they are set up to enable the mobilization of rural savings by local institutions. So first statement is correct. Second statement is, the priority sector lending targets are applicable to local area banks. So same like other banks, even for this also priority sector lending targets are applicable. So both these statements are correct. Option C. 16th question, consider the following statements with reference to the National E-Vidhan application, NIVA. So here this National e-Vidhan application's main aim is to digitalize and make the functioning of the state legislatures completely paperless. So let's look into the first statement. It is a workflow system deployed on NIC Cloud Meghraj. So the first statement is correct. Second statement is it is a mission mode project to digitize and make the functioning of the state legislatures paperless. So say both these statements are correct. So option C. 17th question, with reference to Indian Gulf relations, consider the following statements. So the first statement is, out of India's total import of crude oil in the last 15 years, the share of the Gulf countries has been more than 80%. So the share of Gulf countries is only about around 60%, not more than 80%. So first statement is wrong. Second statement is, in the last 5 years, Saudi Arabia has seen India's largest trading partner in the region. It is not Saudi Arabia, it is United Arab Emirates. So both these statements are wrong. So option D, that is neither one nor two. 18th question, in the context of deficit in the annual financial statement, consider the following statements. So here, first we have to know the fiscal deficit. So here fiscal deficit means if the government expenditure, that is if the government spending is more than the government's income, that is if the government spending is more than the government earning, then it is called fiscal deficit. So first statement is effective revenue deficit signifies that amount of capital receipts that are being used for actual consumption expenditure of the government. So the first statement is correct. Effective revenue deficit signifies that the amount of capital receipts, that the amount you get, are being used for actual consumption expenditure of the government. So first statement is correct. Coming to second statement, gross primary deficit refers to the difference between gross fiscal deficit and net interest liabilities. So even the second statement is also correct. So both these statements are correct. So regarding the annual financial statement, effective revenue deficit signifies that amount of capital receipts that are being used for actual consumption expenditure of the government. Next is, see, the meaning is simple, but they gave it very complicated. That's it. Next is gross primary deficit refers to the difference between the gross fiscal deficit and the net interest liabilities. So option C. 19th question, he sat on a piece of rock for 13 continuous days when challenged about the authenticity of the Abhyangas he had written. His message about the casteless society and his denial of rituals had led to the social movement. He is credited with starting the Wari pilgrimage. This is the most likely description of who among the following? It is Sant Tukaram. So option C is the right one. So he worshipped Lord Vittala. So 20th question. India is a member of which of the following multilateral export control programs? So here India is member of Wassenaar's arrangement, Australia Group, Missile Technology Control Regime. So India is a member of all these, option A. But it is not a member of Nuclear Suppliers Group because its membership is constantly, India's membership in the Nuclear Suppliers Group is constantly blocked by China and other member countries. So India could not be the member of the Nuclear Suppliers Group. So except two, all are correct. So option A. 21st question, while calculating the gross domestic product by expenditure method, which of the following factors are taken into account? So while calculating gross domestic product by expenditure method, we take final household consumption expenditure and final capital expenditure, only 1 and 3. So option C, we will not take expenditure on intermediate goods because these are intermediate goods. They asked about gross, that is final. So these will not be included, and the government expenditure on unemployment allowances, even these also will not be included. So only 1 and 3. So option C. 22nd question, with reference to the World Bank Group, consider the following pairs. So, International Finance Corporation. So, the main objective of this International Finance Corporation is to encourage the private sector in the developing countries. So, first pair is wrong. Coming to the second pair, International Development Association. So the main objective of this International Development Association is to reduce poverty by providing zero to low interest loans. So second pair is also wrong. Coming to the third one, Multilateral Investments Guarantee Agency. So it promotes foreign direct investments into developing countries. So only 3 is correct. So option D. 23rd question, which of the following statements about the calculation of gross domestic product GDP is not correct? So here GDP is the output of all final goods and services within India. So coming to the first statement, GDP measures aggregate production of final goods and services taking place within the domestic territory. The first statement is correct. Coming to second statement, it does not take into account the aggregate production of final goods and services produced by foreign nationals within the domestic territory. So this one is wrong, because it will take into account the aggregate production of final goods and services produced within the domestic territory. So first option B is not correct. Coming to third one, the in the GDP calculation, negative externalities are not taken into account, and in GDP calculation the aggregate production of final goods produced by the Indian citizens in the foreign territory is also not included. So all these are correct except option B. So option B is the answer. 24th question, which of the following statements is or are not correct regarding the Green Revolution in India? So first statement is Green Revolution started in India in the early 1950s. So the first statement is wrong, because Green Revolution has started in the mid 1960s and ended in mid 1970s. So first statement is wrong. Second statement, it was marked by an increase in the use of high yielding variety seeds. So second statement is correct. Third one is the high yielding variety seeds significantly lowered the use of irrigation in India. So here this HYV seeds have significantly increased the irrigation in India, use of irrigation in India. So 1 and 3 statements are wrong. So only option 2 is correct. So option B. 25th question, with reference to the GDP deflator. Now what is this GDP deflator? GDP deflator is the measure of the general price inflation. Okay, it is a measure of general price inflation. Here inflation means increase in the prices of goods and services. So GDP deflator is measure of general price inflation. So consider the following statement. So it is a ratio of nominal GDP to real GDP. So the first statement is correct. Second statement is the weights of goods used in calculating GDP deflator differs according to the production level. So both these statements are correct. So option C. 26th question, in the context of Indian economy, consider the following statements. The first statement is the unemployment rate is defined as the percentage of unemployed persons in labor force. Second statement is the worker population ratio is defined as the percentage of total workers to the total population. So both these statements are correct. So option C is the right answer. 27th question, consider the following statements regarding liquid nano urea. So first statement is it helps in minimizing the environmental footprint. Second is it has about 10,000 times more surface area to volume size in comparison to conventional granular urea. Third statement is it is indigenously developed and patented by Indian Farmers Fertilizer Cooperative Limited. So all these statements are correct. So option A. Now 28th question, which of the following can be potential triads of the contractionary fiscal policy? Here The contractionary fiscal policy means if the government cuts its spendings or raises taxes, then it is called contractionary fiscal policy. So let's look into the statements. First is decrease in the tax rate of vehicles in order to increase the sale. So here contractionary fiscal policy means increase in taxes and reducing the spending of the government. So it is not decrease, it is increase in taxes. So first statement is wrong. Coming to second statement, reduction in subsidies of LPG cylinders. So yes, this is included. Next is option 3. So if we reduce subsidies in LPG cylinders, then some amount of money can be saved. So option 3 is increase in government expenditure on infrastructure development. So it is not increase, it is decrease. So if we decrease only, we'll get some amount in stock. So only second statement is correct. So option A. 29th question, with reference to the cash reserve ratio, consider the following statements. So here the cash reserve ratio is the percentage of the cash that need to be stored in the bank. Okay, the percentage of cash that need to be stored in the bank is called the cash reserve ratio. So first, look at the first statement. It is the percentage of deposit which a commercial bank must keep with itself in reserves. Yes, the meaning is simple, but they'll give in a very complicated way. Okay, so first statement is correct. Coming to the second statement, NBFCs, that is non-bank financial corporations, are outside the purview of this reserve requirement. So both these statements are correct. NBFCs are not included in the CRR. 30th question, a rise in the price of foreign exchange would likely result in which of the following? So if the foreign exchange price is increased, then our rupee value will depreciate. Okay, our rupee value will decrease. So let's look. Decrease the cost of purchasing a foreign good. So if our rupee value will decrease, then if we want to purchase any foreign good, so here you have to observe one thing. If our rupee value decreases, that means if $1 is equal to 80 rupees, if our rupee value decreases, now $1 may become to 100 or more, or 80 plus. In that circumstances, our rupee value will decrease. So when our rupee value will decrease, then if we want to purchase any foreign item, then we have to spend more money than the normal one. So here it will increase the cost of purchasing of foreign good. So our first option is wrong. Coming to the second one, increase the cost of purchasing a foreign good. So here, yes, option B is a correct answer. So if the rupee value decreases, then our cost, so our money value. So generally, if you want to buy a chocolate which is $1 in US, you will give 80 rupees from India and you will buy that chocolate. So if our rupee value decreased, so it decreased and came to 100 rupees. Okay, then so our rupee value is compared with the US dollar. So if we have to give 100 rupees to buy that chocolate, $1 chocolate, so it will increase the cost of purchasing of a foreign good. So option B is the correct answer. Next is decrease in India's exports with other things remaining constant. So here also our India's exports will increase, because if rupee value is if rupee value is depreciated, then we can export more at cheaper price. So our exports also will increase, not decrease. So only B is correct. So option B. 31st question, with reference to the consumer price index CPI, consider the following statements. So here the CPI measures the change in the retail prices of goods and services. Okay, So first statement is CPI takes into account the prices of goods only. No, it takes into account prices of goods and services also. So first statement is wrong. Second statement is it includes the prices of imported goods. Yes. So only 2 is correct. So option B. 32nd question, which of the following can be accounted as capital receipts in the annual financial statement? So here, what are these capital receipts? So capital receipts is the money the government gets in the form of loans, borrowings, etc. Okay. So let's look into the statements. So the first statement is loans received from foreign government. Yes, this includes the capital receipts. Next, borrowings by the government through the sale of treasury bills. This also is included. Next is collection or and appropriation of direct tax. So this comes under the revenue receipts. Okay, not in the capital receipts. Next is recovery of loans and advances. So 1, 2, 4, all these come under the capital receipts. So option C. 33rd question, which one of the following best describes the term money multiplier? So money multiplier is the ratio of the total money supply to the stock of high powered money in an economy. So option B is the right answer. 34th question, often seen in news, Strait of Malacca connects. So the Strait of Malacca connects Andaman Sea and South China Sea. So option B. 35th question, in the context of minerals in India, which of the following are classified as major minerals? So in India, coal, uranium, gold, iron ore, all these are classified as the major minerals. So option C. Coming to 36th question, Rakesh was a manual labor in the factory that used to manufacture shoes. The area where the factory was located was bought by the foreign entity that specialized in a shoe manufacturing. The machines for manufacture and design of shoes were imported from the USA and manufacturing plants were set up in the area. So it was observed that special knowledge of computers and numerical competency was required to operate those machines, which Rakesh lacked, and thus he was fired from his job, leading to the unemployment. So what kind of unemployment is depicted in the passage given below? So here it is, the structural unemployment. The unemployment caused due to lack of special knowledge or lack of skills is called structural unemployment. Coming to the frictional unemployment, the frictional unemployment is caused when a person leaves a particular job and searches for other job. So that short period of unemployment is called frictional unemployment. Next is seasonal unemployment. Seasonal unemployment is if the people are unemployed at a particular times of the year, then it is called seasonal unemployment. Coming to the disguised unemployment, disguised unemployment occurs when the productivity is low and too many workers are working to fill two or three jobs, to fill up very few jobs. So here option A is the correct answer. 37th question, which of the following best describes casualization of workforce? So casualization of workforce is the process of moving from the self-employment and regular salaried employment to the casual wage. So option D. 38th question, which one of the following is used as the official classification criteria for MSME in India? So the official classification criteria for MSME is the investment and annual turnover. So the investment for micro MSME is more than 5 crores. It should be not more than 5 crores for micro. For small MSMEs, it should be not more than 50 crores. For medium MSMEs, it should not be more than 250 crores. Okay. So the MSME classification is totally based upon investment and annual turnover. So option C. 39th question, which of the following statements is correct regarding Indus Water Treaty? So Indus Water Treaty is signed between India, Pakistan and China. No, China is not included. Indus Water Treaty is only signed between India and China. Next is under this, waters of three rivers, namely Ravi, Satluj and Jhelum, have been allocated exclusively to India. Second statement is also wrong because Ravi, Beas and Satluj. Okay, Ravi, Beas and Satluj rivers are completely allocated to India. So option B is wrong, and the western rivers like Indus, Chenab and Jhelum are allocated to Pakistan. So option B is wrong. Option C is World Bank is a guarantor of the treaty. C is correct. Next is it requires party to meet at least once in 5 years. So D is wrong because the parties have to meet once in a year. So only option C. 40. Foreign portfolio investment by any single investor group cannot exceed X% of the equity of an Indian company, beyond which it will be treated as a foreign direct investment. So the value of X is, so FPI is if it did not exceed 10%, then it is called FPI. If it exceeded, then it will be considered as FDI. So option A. For the first question, consider the following statements regarding balance of payment or BOP. So the balance of payments records the transactions in goods, services and assets between residents of the country and with the rest of the world for a specified time period. So let's look into the first statement. The balance of payment of the country comprises transactions between residents and non-residents during a period. So first statement is correct. Coming to second one, a country having balance of payments equilibrium will experience an increase in the foreign exchange reserves. If it is equilibrium, then the foreign exchange reserves also will be constant. Okay, so second statement is wrong, only one. So option A. For the second question, in the context of poverty categorization, which of the following best describes churning poor? Churning poor means the people who regularly move in and out of poverty are called churning poor. So option C. For the third question, the cases of monkeypox recently has been confirmed, the Europe being the worst affected. In this context, which of the following statements is correct about the monkeypox? So here, if a person with monkeypox remains is infected, then he will remain infectious for 2 to 4 weeks only, not for the entire life span. So first statement is wrong. Coming to the third, option B. Sexual activity is the sole mode of its transmission. So option B is also wrong. It can be transmitted through various things. So B is also wrong. Coming to option C, anyone can get or pass on monkeypox, including rodents and primates. So option C is the correct answer. Next is option D. It is caused by the same variola virus. No, the monkeypox is caused by the monkeypox virus, which is of same genes of variola virus, but not variola virus. Okay, so D is also wrong. So only option C is correct. For the fourth question, soil health cards are printed report cards issued to farmers once in 3 years, indicating the status of the soil. So which of the following are expected the consequences of soil health cards? So first statement is balanced application of fertilizers. Second is reduced import bill. Increase in the financial strain on government is not included. Okay, better land management. So 1, 2 and 4. So option B, financial strain is not included because if soil health cards, if the soil health is improved, then automatically the financial strain on the government will decrease. Okay, so option C, third one is wrong. So only option B. For the fifth question, with reference to the hybrid annuity model of public-private partnership in highway construction, consider the following statements. So as per the model, the government will contribute 60% of the product cost in the first 5 years through annual payment. So the first statement is wrong because the government will contribute only 40%. Next is under HAM. A road developer constructs a road and he or she is allowed to recover his or her investment through toll collection. So second statement is also wrong because the hybrid annuity model is, in this the investor is doesn't have toll, that is no toll right is there for the developer. Okay, so second statement is wrong, both these statements are wrong, so option D. 46th question. Consider the following statements regarding patent rights in India. The first statement is patent rights is a statutory right for an invention granted to the patentee by the government. So first statement is correct. Second statement is the patent is granted for 50 years from the date of filing of an application. It is not for 50 years, it is only for 20 years. Third statement is an invention relating to process cannot be patented in India. So here process and product can be patented. So only first statement is correct. So option A. 47th question. Consider the following statements with reference to the voting of Rajya Sabha elections. So first statement is open ballot voting is done in the elections to the Council of States. The first statement is correct. Second statement is members of Legislative Assembly, that is MLAs belonging to the political party, can show their ballot papers after marking their vote to the authorized agent of the party only. Yes. Coming to the independent MLAs, the statement 3, independent MLAs can show their marked ballot paper to the authorized agent of any party. So independent MLAs have to insert the marked ballot paper in the ballot box without showing the ballot to any political party agent. So third one is wrong, rest both are correct. So option A. 48th question. Consider the following statements regarding neobanks. So first statement is they are the fintech firms with only a digital presence. First statement is correct. Second statement is they do not have a bank license of their own. Third statement is they offer debit cards. So all these statements are correct. So option D. 49th question. With reference to the different systems of taxation, consider the following statement. First statement is the percentage tax rate increases proportionally with the increase in the income under the proportional taxation regime. So first statement is wrong because the percentage of tax is the same percent of tax to everybody regardless of their income in the proportional taxation system. So first statement is wrong because the percentage of tax is same for all the people irrespective of their income. Second statement is the proportional tax makes disposable income as well as consumer spending more sensitive to fluctuations in the GDP. Even the second statement is wrong because the proportional income tax acts as a shock absorber and creates less sensitivity to the fluctuations in GDP. So option D, neither one nor two are correct. 50th question. Consider the following statements regarding socialist economy. The first statement is in the socialist economy, the government decides what goods to be produced. First statement is correct. Second statement is distribution of resources under socialism is supposed to be based on the purchasing power of the people. The second statement is wrong because in the socialistic economy, the distribution of resources are supposed to be based upon the need of the people. Here the purchasing power of people are given, right? So this is based on the capitalist economy, not in terms of socialist economy. So only first statement is correct. So option A. 51st question. Consider the following statements with reference to leadership for industry transition. So first statement is it is a voluntary initiative launched by India and United Kingdom at the UN Climate Action Summit in 2020. So first statement is wrong. Here the leadership for industry transition is hosted by Sweden and India in the Stockholm, and it is jointly launched by both these countries, India and Sweden. So first statement is wrong. Second statement is its secretariat is hosted by World Bank. Both these statements are wrong. So option D. Leadership for industry transition is hosted and launched jointly by India and Sweden, and it is conducted in Stockholm Convention. Stockholm. So both these are wrong. So option D. 52nd question, consider the following statements regarding Indian agriculture sector since 1991 reforms. First statement is percentage share of public investment in agriculture sector has increased steadily. No. In 1991, the agriculture sector has improved more. So that improvement caused the decrease in the public investment. Okay. So first statement is wrong. Coming to the second statement, there has been a shift from production for the domestic market towards the production of for the export market. So second statement is correct. So option B. 53rd question, with reference to the monetized deficit as the method of finance debt, consider the following. Here, monetized deficit is the financial support given by the RBI to center. Okay. So first statement is monetized deficit is a part of government deficit which is financed solely by borrowing from RBI. So first statement is correct. Coming to second statement, monetized deficit includes short-term finance instruments as well as long-term security. So both these statements are correct. So option C. 54th question, which of the following can be regarded as the quantitative tools of RBI to control money supply in the economy? So change in the cash reserve ratio and open market operations, changing in the bank rate. 1, 2, 4 are correct, but moral suasion is not correct, because the moral suasion is the request by RBI to the consumer banks to take specific measures as per the economic trends, and these doesn't control money supply. Okay, so this is not a tool. So only 1, 2 and 4 is correct answer. Option C. 55th question, consider the following statements regarding flexible exchange rate system. So these flexible exchange rate systems are determined by the market forces of demand and supply. So the first statement is, in this system the exchange rate is determined by the market forces of demand and supply. So first statement is correct. Second statement is, at present India allows a completely flexible exchange rate system. So second statement is wrong, because India follows managed floating exchange rate system. Okay, so only first statement is correct. So option A. Coming to 56th question, consider the following statements regarding agreement on trade related aspects of intellectual property rights, TRIPS. So here the TRIPS agreement is done. It is a multilateral agreement on the intellectual property. Okay, so first statement is, TRIPS agreement applies to all World Trade Organization members. First statement is correct. Second is, the agreement allows compulsory licensing and government use of a patent without the authorization of its owners. So both these statements are correct. So option C. 57th question, consider the following statements with the reference to the convertibility of currencies. So here current account and okay, so we'll first look into this first statement. Convertibility refers to the ability to convert domestic currency into a foreign currency and vice versa. So first statement is correct. Coming to the second statement, currently India has partial convertibility for both current and capital accounts. So now we have to know about the current account and the capital account. The current account means all the money transactions between countries. Okay, so it is fully convertible for current account. Coming to the capital account is the money put on the investments and loans. So it is only partial. Okay, so for current account it is fully convertible, and for capital account it is partially convertible. So second statement is wrong. Okay, so only option A. 58th question, which of the following are functions of the central bank RBI in the Indian economy? The first statement is it issues the currency of the country. Second statement is it controls the money supply of the country. Third is it is the custodian of the foreign exchange reserves of the economy. And the fourth is it acts as a bank to the banking system in the economy. So all these statements are correct. So option D. 59th question, consider the following statements regarding the open market operations done by the RBI. So the first statement is it refers to buying and selling of the bonds issued by the government in the open market. Second is purchase of government securities from bond market by RBI increases high powered money in the economy. So both these statements are correct. So option C. 60th question, with reference to the inflation indexed bonds, consider the following statements. So the first statement is the inflation indexed bonds provides protection only to the principal and not to the interest payments. So here the inflation indexed bonds provide protection to principal and to the interest payments also. So first statement is wrong. Second statement is inflation indexed bonds are treated as government securities and thus eligible to be kept as part of statutory liquidity ratio requirements of banks. So only option 2 is correct, so B. 61st question, with reference to the national disposable income, consider the following statements. So here the national disposable income is the sum of net national product at the market price plus the net other current transfers from the rest of the world. So option so first statement is it comprises net national product of the market price and net other current transfers from the rest of the world. So first statement is correct. Second statement is it gives an idea about the maximum amount of goods and services that the domestic economy has at its disposal. So both these statements are correct. So option C. 62nd question, consider the following statements in the context of public goods. So first statement is consumption of public goods by an individual does not reduce the amount available for consumption for the same goods for another individual. First statement is correct. Second statement is public provision goods are those goods that are produced directly by the government. Here the goods that are produced directly by the government are called public production goods. Okay, public provision goods are those goods that are financed through the budget. Okay, and here we also have public goods. Public goods may be produced or may not be produced by the government. Okay, so only first statement is correct. Option A. 63rd question, with which of the following is not correct regarding the human capital. So first statement is human capital is intangible and cannot be easily sold in the market. First statement is correct. Second statement is unlike physical capital, human capital does not depreciate with time. So second statement is wrong because as the time depreciates, both physical and human capitals also depreciate. So option B is not correct. Coming to C, human capital benefits not only the owner but also the society in general. Next is human capital is not perfectly mobile between countries. So option B is the answer. 64th question, which of the following is not a component of Sagarmala initiative launched by Government of India? So first is encouraging coastal economic development by promoting port-based special economic zones. Option B is efficient evacuation systems by improving port hinterlands linkages. Option C is deep ocean survey and exploration. So the deep ocean survey and exploration is a part of deep ocean mission which is launched by Ministry of Earth Sciences. So option C is not correct. Whereas modernization of port infrastructure also belongs to Sagarmala. So option C. 65th question, consider the following statements. So country and important reasons for being in use are given. So Turkey, so UN changed name of the country. So first state pair is correct. Sudan has involved in tribal clashes. Zimbabwe has high inflation. Cambodia, China is building foreign outposts. So all these four pairs are correct. So option D. 66th question, consider the following statements. First statement is, until the outbreak of the First World War, all currencies were pegged to value of gold. Yes, first statement is correct. Second statement is, post independence, the Indian rupee was pegged to pound sterling till 1975. So both these statements are correct. So option C. 67th question, consider the following statements regarding small financial banks in India. So the first statement is, they are registered as public limited companies under Companies Act 2013. First statement is correct. Second is, they accept deposits and lend to an unserved and undeserved sections. Second is also correct. Third statement is, like commercial banks, these banks have to maintain both cash reserve ratio and statutory liquidity ratio. So all these statements are correct. So option D. 68th question, with reference to the current regulations of crypto assets in India, consider the following statements. So here, till now, there are no exact regulations for the crypto assets in India. It is not actually legal. So all these statements are wrong. So option D, none. So the Consumer Protection Act of 2019, Contracts Act of 1956, and Foreign Exchange FEMA Act of 1995, in any of them, crypto assets are not included. They are not regulated. So option D. 69th question, which one of the following statements releases the Environment Performance Index? So World Economic Forum will release the Environmental Performance Index. Option B. Next is 70th question, with reference to the aggregate monetary resources, consider the following statements. So here M1, so here the aggregate monetary resources differentiate different types of money deposits. Okay, so M1 is public deposits, M2 belongs to savings in post office, M3 belongs to commercial bank deposits, and M4 belongs to organization deposits. So M1 and M2 are narrow money, because M1 and M2 are the deposits of money from the public and savings with the post office, and M3 and M4 are broad money, because these include deposits of money from commercial banks and organizations. So here look into the first statement, M3. M3 means the money deposits made by the commercial banks. Commercial banks means broad money, not narrow money. So first statement is wrong. Coming to second statement, M1 is the least liquid while M4 is the most liquid money measure. See here, the money generally deposited by the commercial banks and big organizations doesn't be more liquid, whereas the money deposited by us, the normal depositors, will be more liquid. Both these statements are wrong. So option D. 71st question, in the context of core inflation, consider the following statement. So first, what is core inflation? The core inflation is the change in the cost of goods and services, but it does not include prices of food and energy sector. Okay, so look at the first statement. It takes into account changes in the price of food and energy. So here it doesn't take the food and energy prices. Okay, so here we know the core inflation is the change in the cost of goods and services, but it does not include the prices of food and energy sector. So first statement is wrong. Second statement, when core inflation rises, RBI increases its key policy rates to suck excess liquidity from the market. So second statement is correct. So option B. 72nd question, the Agriculture Ministry recently unveiled India's first COVID-19 vaccine for animals. So in the context, consider the following regarding ANCOVAX. So first statement is, it can protect animals against Delta and Omicron variants of SARS-CoV-2. Second statement is, it is only for cattle and dogs. Second statement is wrong, because this vaccine is for cattle, dogs, lions, leopards, mice, rabbits, etc. So second statement is wrong. Third statement is, it is an inactivated vaccine developed using the infectious part of the Delta variant. So 1 and 3 statements only are correct. So option B. 73rd question, in the context of free trade agreement, the negative list include. So first statement is the list of items which are not permitted to be exported. The first statement is wrong. Second statement is the list of products to which the duty is to be reduced. No. The list of negative externalities like sin goods. No. So these are the items on which no concession would be allowed. So the negative list means the list of products which are not included in the free trade agreement. That means no concessions will be allowed. Okay, option D. 74th question, consider the following statements regarding APMCs, that is Agricultural Produce Market Committees. So first statement is it is a statutory committee formed by the state governments. First statement is correct. Second statement is these committees oversee the trading of both notified agricultural products as well as livestock products. So second statement is also correct. Third statement is the committees prohibit the involvement of any kind of intermediaries and commissioning agents in the trade between farmers and buyers. So third statement is wrong because the committees involve some kinds of intermediaries and the commissioning agents in the trade between the farmers and buyers. In fact, they'll also collect the fees from the commission agents. Okay, so only 1 and 2 statements are correct because the commission agents are included in the APMCs. So option B is the right one. 75th question, which one of the following statements best describes Ricardian equivalence? So here the Ricardian equivalence is an economic theory that says that financing government spending out of future taxes will have equal effect on overall economy. Okay, so taxation and borrowing are equivalent means of financing expenditure in simple terms. Okay, so option B. 76th statement is which of the following can be classified as short-term external debt of the country? So first statement is foreign institutional investors investment in corporate securities. Second is investment in treasury bills by foreign central bank. The third is export credit, external commercial borrowings. So only 1 and 2 statements are correct because here for the external debt, export credit and external commercial borrowings are not included as the short term external debt. Okay, so only 1 and 2 statements are correct. So option C. 77th question, consider the following statements regarding reference to Sant Kabir. So first statement is he belonged to the Nirguna tradition of Bhakti movement. Second is he dismissed the sacred authority of religious books like Vedas and Quran. Next is he sung compositions known as Padas and Shabdas. So all these statements are correct. So option D. 78th question, with reference to the treaty bills. So what is this treaty bills? So these are the short-term debt instruments issued by the central government. Okay. So with reference to the treaty bills, which of the following statements are correct? First statement is they are short-term capital market instruments. No, they are not capital market instruments. Next is T-bills. In India, T-bills are issued only by the central government. Yes. So, option B is correct. Next is T-bills are considered as assets to the government. No, they are not assets, they are liabilities. Next is foreign portfolio investment is not allowed in treaty bills. No, it is also wrong. So only option B is the correct answer. 79th question, consider the following statements regarding Stockholm Plus 50 conference. So it is an international meeting convened by the United Nations General Assembly. Next is Stockholm Conference was first proposed by Sweden in 1968. Next is theme for the conference is a healthy planet for prosperity of all, our responsibility, our opportunity. So all these statements are correct. So option D. 80th question, consider the following statements regarding the Infrastructure Investment Trust. So first statement is these are the mutual fund like institutions that enable investments into the infrastructure sector by pooling small sum of money from individual investors. Next is the infrastructure investment trust are regulated by Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI. So both these statements are correct. So option C. 81st question, with reference to the depreciation, consider the following statements. So the first statement is depreciation is an annual allowances for wear and tear of capital goods. First statement is correct. Second statement is depreciation does not take into account unexpected destruction of capital goods. So both these statements are correct. So option C. 82nd question, which of the following state level taxes have been subsumed under GST? So all these are subsumed except the stamp duty. Okay, eliminate option 3, so option D is correct. 1, 2, 4. 83rd question, consider the following statements. Saririka stupa are the stupas erected over the bodily relics of Lord Buddha. First statement is correct. Second statement is Lord Buddha's relics from his funeral pyre were collected and given to King Ashoka. So the second statement is wrong because Lord Buddha's relics are divided into 8 shares and they are distributed among the 8 people. They are the 8 kingdoms. They are the Ajatashatrus of Magadha, and next is Lichavis of Vaishali. Next is third one is Shakyas of Kapilavastu, and fourth is Mallas of Kushinagara. Fifth is Bullies of Alakappa, and sixth is Mallas of Pava. Seventh is Koliyas of Ramagrama. Eighth is Brahmana of Vetadippa. So only first statement is correct. It is not directly given to the Ashoka. So option A. 84th question, with reference to the statements regarding Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana. So first statement is it is a life insurance scheme renewable from year to year, offering coverage for death due to any reason. First statement is wrong because it is not for any reason. It is if the death occurs due to accident, then the life insurance is given under this Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana. So first statement is wrong. Second statement is individuals in the age group of 18 to 70 years having a saving bank or a post office account are entitled to enroll under the scheme. Second statement is correct. Third statement is the scheme is delivered through banks including regional rural banks as well as cooperative banks. So second and third statements are correct. So option C. 85th question, which of the following can be patented under the Indian patent laws? So here only microorganisms can be patented, whereas invention related to atomic energy, surgical methods, plants and animals cannot be patented under the Indian patent laws. So option D. 86th question, which of the following is considered as assets to the commercial banks? So first statement is reserves of commercial banks with the central bank. Next is deposits of the people with the commercial bank. So the deposits of the people with commercial banks are not assets. They are the liabilities because at one point or the other they have to give back to the people because it is their money. So second statement is wrong. Coming to the third one, loans given to the public by the commercial bank. So only 1 and 3 statements are correct. So option C. 87th question, with reference to the state, which consider the following statements with reference to the BrahMos missile. So first statement is it has been developed under the integrated guided missile development program. So the first statement is wrong because it is a supersonic cruise missile. Okay, coming to the second statement, it is a 2-stage missile with solid propellant booster engines. Next is it operates on fire and forget principle, adopting varieties of flights on its way to the target. So 2 and 3 statements are correct. Option B. 88th question, consider the following statements with reference to the fishing cat. So first statement is in India, fishing cats are found in mangrove forests of Sundarbans only. No, they are not only found in Sundarbans, but they are also found in foothills of Himalayas along Ganga and Brahmaputra river valleys and in the Western Ghats also. Okay, first statement is wrong. So it is a state animal of West Bengal. Second statement is wrong, correct. And the third one is it is listed in the endangered of IUCN red list species. So 2 and 3 statements are correct. Option B. 89th question. This 5-year plan aimed at developing the Indian economy on socialistic lines. It also wanted to put India on the path towards industrialization. The chief architect of this plan was P.C. Mahalanobis. So the second 5-year plan is described in the passage. So option B. 90th question. With reference to the Monetary Policy Committee, consider the following statements. So the first statement is the committee was set up with the responsibility for price stability and inflation targeting. First statement is correct. Second is its meeting are chaired by finance minister. It is not by finance minister. It is chaired by the RBI governor. So second one is wrong. Third statement is the committee is constituted under the RBI Act of 1934. So 1 and 3 statements are correct. So option B. 91st question. The Ministry of Commerce has identified 12 champion service sectors. So which of the following are included under the 12 sectors? So here the 12 sectors, champion service sectors are IT and IT enabled services, medical value travel, accounting and finance services, audio-visual services, legal services, communication services, construction, engineering services, financial services, tourism and hospitality, transport and logistics, environmental services. So all these three are included, but the biotechnology and pharmaceuticals are not included under the champion service sectors. They are classified under the champion manufacture sectors. Okay, so eliminate 4, so we'll get 1 2 3. So all these three are included in the champion service sectors. Biotechnology and pharmaceuticals are related to the champion manufacture sector. Okay, so 92nd question. This biodiverse wetland situated in Iraq, south of the capital Baghdad, has disappeared largely due to the human activity and climate change. It was formed over the limestone rock and studded with gypsum formations and has no inlet or outlet. So this is most likely description of Lake Sava. Option B. 93rd question is 5.0. Common Reforms Agenda, sometimes mentioned in news, was developed by. It is developed by the public sector banks. So option B is the right one. 94th question. With reference to the different types of diabetes, consider the following statements. So in type 1 diabetes, the body's insulin production either goes down or cells become resistant to the insulin. So in this type, it is type 2 diabetes, not type 1. First statement is wrong. Second is in type 2 diabetes, the pancreas completely stops producing the insulin. So it is not type 2. In type 1, the pancreas completely stops producing insulin. Second is also wrong. Third one is in diabetic ketoacidosis, the human body is not able to absorb glucose for energy and starts breaking down fats instead. So third statement is correct. Next is if a person with type 2 diabetes stops taking their insulin, they die within weeks. So it is not type 2. If a person with type 1 diabetes stop taking insulin, then they die within weeks. So only third statement is correct. So option C. 95th question. In order to calculate the personal income, which of the following is required to be subtracted from the national income? So here the personal income includes all income which is received by all the individuals in a year. So first statement is undistributed profit, net interest payment made by the households, corporate tax. So all these are not require all these are required to be subtracted to calculate interest rates. So here the personal income includes all the incomes which is received by all the individuals in a year. Okay, so fourth is not included, only the above three are included, so option B. 96th question, which of the following fall under the capital account of balance of payment? So only intergovernmental loans and foreign institutional investments, only 1 and 4 fall under balance of payments. 97th question, consider the following statements regarding current account of balance of payments. So first statement is, a country with a surplus on current account necessarily borrows from other countries. So if we have current account surplus, that means if we have more money, why will we borrow from other countries? We will not borrow. Okay, so first statement is wrong. Second is, a surplus on a current account necessarily implies that the country has surplus balance of trade. So here it doesn't only have surplus and balance of trade, another also we can have. See, it can be surplus in the balance of invisibles also, not only this one. So even second one is wrong, so option D. 98th question, with reference to the term spread in the banking system, which one of the following statements is correct? So here the spread is the difference between the interest rates of the borrowers and depositors in the bank. So option C is the right one. 94th question, with reference to the factor cost, consider the following statements. First statement is, factor cost includes the payments to the factors of production only. First statement is correct. Second is, factor cost does not include any tax. Second is also correct. So they asked which of the following are not correct. So option D. So here factor cost is a cost of an item of goods and services with various factors that play a part in the production and availability. Okay, so here option D is the correct answer. 100th question, the last one, in the context of the 1991 balance of payment crisis, which of the following was not one of the steps taken under the new economic policy? So lowering of tax rates for better compliances of taxpayers, this was taken. Revaluation of Indian rupee against the foreign currencies, this is not taken by the government. Next is establishment of domestic and foreign private sector banks in India, and industrial licensing was abolished for almost all except certain product categories. So option B, revaluation of Indian rupee against foreign currencies, is not the step taken under the new economic policy. So option B is the answer.